Hey, caught me setting up for my next desert shoot here. Beautiful day in the Sonora Desert. Today's test, I'm planning on doing a couple of different things if I have the time. Gel block with the bones. And I guess you guys are probably assuming that, and rightfully so, that the 10 mil is going to be 9 mil, but I wouldn't bury the 9 mil, as they say, that quickly. Thinking that it'll probably put up a better showing than most people expect. Second testing in the clear block are mostly going to be 45s. Gonna bring the camera around here and I'll show you today's ammo and what we're going to be using and get this show on the road. Alright, on this side we have the 9 mils, the contestants for 9 millimeter, and on this side we have the contestants for the 45 ACP. The 9 mil side will be represented by, you guessed it, we're going to finally get around to the Grizzly Extreme in the 9 mil, 110 grain. It's a velocity stated at 1350. We'll see how close it comes. Kind of came up with a oldie that I don't know if many of you remember. It's Fiocchi's monoblock. It's kind of an interesting round. Got a steel center point or block in the middle of the cavity. The petals are supposed to open up and the steel core is supposed to be a penetrator of sorts. We'll see how that works out. I came across some of Federal's classic. It's just your 115 grain 9 mil high shock jacketed hollow point. Let's see if how this does. See what that looks like. Pretty common hollow point. And we'll see how that goes. And then got my Underwood and 9s. I like this one. It's what I actually use in my carry. It is their 147 grain jacketed hollow point plus P plus. 147 grains doing 1175. That's pretty good. I like Underwood. It's probably my favorite company for manufactured rounds. Using a spear gold dot and excellent performance from that company. And now on the 45 side, I brought the old Grizzly back. We'll see if we get around to that again. Got the Federal HST, and we are using 230 grain tactical on this one. And there's your standard HST hollow point from Federal. Nice. I also brought with me today some 200 grain tap 45 plus P's from Hornaday. We'll see. It's another nice looking hollow point. And then the one I use for my carry in 45 is the 45 Winchester Ranger series. I use the plus P in the Talon. I like this round. I think it's a devastating round. Any of you have ever seen Talons? in gel or anything, you know that these open up into very sharp petals, very devastating on impact. So we'll see how these all turn out. We'll get this all set up and get ready to rock and roll. Alright, first round today will be the Underwood 9mm, 147 grain. Test gun for today's 9mm will be the Glock 19, my Glock 19. We'll see how she goes. Well, as you can see, I hit the thickest part of that bone. The next round will be the Fiocchi. Good center hit on that one. Test gun for the 10mm will be my Glock 20. Standard Glock barrel. And I'll be using my loads. Hoping to get somewhere around 1,200 feet per second out of it. We'll see. It's hard to hit a bone that's hidden by denim. Woo. Last round clocked in at 1344 10mm. My load was spear, gold dot. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, so I could have been wrong about the 9s keeping up. Center mass right through the bone. In here, through the denim, through the bone, and out the back door. Oh, geez. That was a... I do like my round. I like my load. And velocity on that round was 1374. All right, we're going to do simple penetration. Nothing analytical here, just to kind of get a visual representation of 4 different kinds of 45 ACPs. First round fired will be the Hornady. The second round fired will be the Grizzly. Always like seeing that one. Third round fired will be the HST. final round fired will be the Ranger Talon. Test gun, I don't know, it again is my Taurus PT 1911. Looks like we had a complete pass-through on that one. A lot of doggone ricochets today. Kind of makes it spooky. Alright, next one is our favorite, the Grizzly. Next will be the HST. Alright, let's try the Winchester Talon. Alright, I forgot that I wanted to test the 9mm Grizzly, and I do have the center bone that's still intact. See if I can hit that little bad boy. 110 grain Grizzly. Alright, looks like good velocity. It was 1191, unfortunately, and I did hit the bone, went through the denim. The bullet wound up right, almost exiting the block unexpanded. Hello everyone, Desert Gold here in the post-shoot review, and before we get started I just want to kind of say I'm a little disappointed with the actual clarity of the block. I think I went one step too far in the remeltings. I thought I could get better clarity out of the block. I apparently did not. But we'll see what we can salvage from it. I will be cutting open the block for better views on some of the tracks. As you saw earlier in the video, the first shot that was fired was the Underwood, and it caught the bottom of the bone, shattered the widest part of the bone there, carrying bone marrow out, and then it headed down and exited the bottom of the path, or I'm sorry, the block, right about there. And I'll be adding measurements here and a little extra technical data as we move on. Second two rounds that were fired were the Fiocchi's monoblocks. One was a miss of the bone, and that's the upper one, the top one up at the top there. And the second round went through the second bone in, and that wound up right there. I'll move it. Sorry, I haven't got all my equipment here to. Right there. So with the exception here of the underwood, which really kind of did some serious damage on the widest part of the bone, the monoblocks pretty much, as you can see, had pretty straight paths. Even the one that went through the bone didn't open up and create an expansion cavity that you would expect to see with a hollow point. Damage path is pretty unremarkable, and when I get the block cut open, we'll get a better picture of what actually happened on these two trails. I'm going to flip the block around and bring up what I consider the star of the show, and you're going to see the difference between the two calibers. And unfortunately, obviously it's not really a fair comparison. These are between 115 and 124 grain, rounds. 9mm goes up to 147. The 10 mil I was shooting was 180 grain, and you definitely get a better representation of what that kind of a caliber will do. Let's take a look at that. Alright, so you can see these are the two 10s that were fired. This is the first one, and I missed the bone, and it actually exited the block. Let me get the camera just a little bit adjusted here. Like I said, I'm not working with my usual stuff. The bullet came down and exited right here. So I got a new bearing on the round, or the bone, and as you can see, it entered and hit the bone dead center. And actually, I don't know if you can notice up here, let's see if I can get that up there just a little bit. You can see the force of the impact actually shattered the bone up here outside of the strike zone. So I mean, just the physical force, or the hydraulics of the pressure going through the bone and the bone marrow actually shattered the bone up on top there. The round continued out all the way to the exiting the block on the far side. It's going to be hard to see. Let's see if I can get a little more light on this. Try my little zebra light here and see if I can get something going. It's going to just create all sorts of... I might light it up a little bit there. You can actually kind of see the expansion, and it continued tearing tissue all the way out to the end of the block. Devastating round. really is. Let's see a little better picture there. I think that just tearing right through the gel. Alright, so I'm going to cut this open and we'll see how that all looks from the inside. Alright everyone, just got the 10 mil side of the block separated out, and gives you a better view of what transpired when that bullet hit that bone. As you can see, the force right there brought in a lot of denim. It struck the bone and continued on through. The damage path is almost all the way down the block. The interesting thing that I also noticed was you'll see a lot of bone marrow and bone fragments coming through, but you gotta love Spear's bonded bullet. There is not one particle of or one piece of bullet fragment in that gel anywhere, all the way through. And I'm going to see if I can orient the camera a little bit, and you can see the force from a different angle of when it hit the bone, that hydraulic pressure I was mentioning earlier, that it really just forced marrow and bone tissue out the side of the bone. And let me just move the camera and I'll see if I can get you a better picture of that. Alright, as you can see, the bullet hit the bone, and right above it, in that area, you can just see the mushrooming, explosive outburst of tissue, bone marrow. It just exploded inside that bone. Continued on through, taking bone marrow. Just a very devastating round. Alright everybody, I got the final part of the block sort of splayed open here so that we can get a simultaneous view of two different rounds that were fired through the bone. This one up here is the Fiocchi monoblock, and this one down here, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video that I had also fired a round of the Federal 115 grain through the bone. This is their classic cartridge, if you want to call it. That's how they've got it labeled. Taking a quick look at the unfired rounds. This is the Federal. Like I said in the beginning, it's pretty much a classic hollow point, 115 grain. What I did not know, and the box didn't say, was whether or not it was a bonded or non-bonded bullet. And as you can see here, that bullet did a complete strip tease, if you want to say. There's the jacket completely intact there, and the core, the lead core, about half an inch further down. The total penetration for the round was exactly 12 inches, and that is the leading edge of the lead core, sitting at 12. You can see that it did have a center mass hit right through the bone, traveled, bringing bone marrow and tissue with it all the way. As it started to tumble, the channel started to widen up a little bit. See if I can get in a little closer without blurring things up. There you have the channel, wound channel with remnants of, you can see the discoloration of the marrow throughout the channel, and the final resting place for the jacket, and then the core just ahead of it. The upper block has the Fiocchi monoblock and similar type of, it had a center punch through that bone, bringing bone marrow and tissue with it. The wound channel is not quite as aggressive as, say, the Winchester was. And the, I don't know if you saw the beginning of the movie, I showed the Fiocchi. That is the monoblock. It's actually a 92 grain bullet. And you can see that steel stud in the middle of the core, in the middle of the cavity. And I'm going to pull this out right now so you can see what the purpose of that was, if I can get this out. And as you can see, this was laying in there like that, so the bullet did a full 180 degree turnaround before reaching its final destination. And this will give you a good look at that center post. Good expansion on the petals for a 92 grain. There. Not quite sure I am all that excited with the final results of that round. Didn't create a whole lot of havoc other than making it through the bone. It only penetrated 12 inches. Actually, if you look at the path of both of these rounds, you'll notice pretty much identical travel paths. I mean, within a half an inch they wound up almost identical. See if I can dig out the, well, I'm going to have to dig this one out later here. There's the jacket from the federal round. Complete separation, obviously. And if I can get this out. Pretty mangled up in there. Here you have your lead core. I can get you the measurements on these later. I'm just not real excited about the final results of either of these 9 mils. As far as if I were to just compare it with other bullets of its weight and caliber class, I would take the Underwood hands down any day. Alright, I'm going to flip this bottom block over real quick so you can get a good look at the final resting place for the Grizzly Extreme 9mm. Hold on. Okay everyone, I'm going to try and summarize these rounds as quickly as I can. This video is already way longer than I had anticipated. These are the Grizzlies that were fired. This was fired in the current test. This one was fired about a week or two ago. In the previous bullet hits the bone test. And this one was fired last year in another video that I did with, was my slam fire video. It was the after I had done the slam fire in the 454 Casull, I set up some wet pack and some milk jugs, and this was the initial firing of my first Grizzly Extreme 9mm. And I don't know if you noticed, but seems to be a consistency here, and the consistency is not that good. But let's first off, real quickly, let's see if we can get some quick measurements. This is the Fiocchi. Let's see if I can get closer looks here. The round is almost symmetrical as far as I can't get that light. You saw it earlier. It's basically symmetrical. Let's see if I get it zoomed in without blurring, and then we can go from there. That's just not working. The average expansion was 0.592. That was the large side, and the small side 0.542. Again, this was the 92 grain monoblock. The Federal high shock, as they call it, completely came apart. The largest diameter on the jacket is 0.616. And the core you can see it, 0.758. Combined weight of the jacket and the core was 112.54, so it did lose quite a bit of its starting weight. The finishing weight for the monoblock was 93.3, so it picked up some media in its journey. And the Grizzly Extreme was 112, so it definitely picked up media in its journey. My final analysis is this Grizzly Extreme in this caliber does not work. 3 different sessions, 3 different types of media, 3 different failures. The 45, on the other hand, a different story. It does function as advertised, and expands completely, even though the starting weight is understated or overstated. The weight of the starting round is completely off as far as what the box states as its weight by a number, quite a few grains. This is the starting point for the Grizzly, as I showed you earlier, and the end on the 45. So final thoughts. Don't waste your money on the Grizzly Extreme 9s. They don't work as anticipated. 45s, different story. Definitely a round that imparts a dramatic damage path. Penetration suffers as a result of that expansion, but I think if you alternate or supplement your clip with higher penetrating rounds and alternate these in with them, I think you're going to have a pretty good self-defense weapon. Sorry this took so long. The 45 block I'm going to do this next week. The block is a lot easier to visualize. It's a lot cleaner, clear, so we won't have the issues that we did with this one. And we'll analyze the data on the 45 rounds. Thanks for watching. Desert Gold out.